So hey guys, I'm going to start off with a PSA first. I have to point out that you currently cannot deallocate Atlas passives in Path of Exile 2 as of now. There are other ways of farming Atziri Temple which would be very adversely affected if you allocate these passives. So these two passives are Secrets of the Ancients and the Lost Architect. I'm going to add the link to the Reddit thread in the description so that you can read what the community thinks of this two. But please do not allocate these two passives. They also don't really bring any advantages to us because we are only really killing bosses. So this really doesn't affect us at all. Just remember, do not allocate the Lost Architect and do not allocate Secrets of the Ancients. You cannot take these points back. Do not be like me. I already accidentally allocated Secrets of the Ancients and I actually kind of regret it. So I'm going to point out a few passives that actually affect us. One of these is Atziri's Assets Wealth. I picked Temple Currency because I think it looks more stable to me. But if you are looking for like Chase Atziri Uniques, you can probably go for a 20% chance of an extra Atziri Unique or a Veil Unique item. Up to you. And also you want to get Riches of the Empire, especially if you use the Temple Currency version of this, because you can get more chances of getting Temple Currency. That's about it. Because we are just creating the temple, hitting the architect, and killing Atziri, most of these Atlas passives don't actually affect us that much. So while seeing the loot and talking about the Atlas passive tree is all fine and dandy, what do you actually do in order to get the loot? It's actually quite simple. Your first goal in the temple is actually to hit the Architect's Chamber. Reach the Architect's Chamber through a combination of paths and rooms. And once you defeat the Architect, he will give you the option to place an access chamber, which I will go over when we are talking about the Architect's Chamber. One thing I want to talk about for the placement of rooms while you're trying to reach the Architect's Chamber and while you're trying to reach Atziri's vault, Atziri's chamber in general, is that while the paths are limited, you actually have to place them following the restrictions that you see. The rooms are actually quite flexible. They actually work like 4-way cross paths. And the only exception is the treasure vault. The treasure vault only handles one entrance or one exit. So do not try to use the treasure vaults if you're trying to path towards an area. However, if the area is only one tile away, you can use a room as a 4-way cross path. For something longer than one tile, you actually have to double check if the room can be connected to the other rooms which you expect to use or not. That one is slightly more complicated and we'll probably... and you can actually see that from the room interactions. You can only place a room adjacent to another room that it upgrades or it can be upgraded by. If not, you cannot really use it to really bridge to other rooms. So that's one thing to take note, because I myself have break tempo run by trying to use a treasure vault to bridge 2 different rooms, and that did not work at all. So luckily the treasure vaults destabilizes in one run, but if you're not careful, you could find yourself in a placement or in a position where it is impossible for you to get to your intended location in one run. So now that you have killed the architect, this is the chamber that you want to add to the temple so that you can reach Atziri in your next run. So I will probably put it to the closest one to the path, the central path that I have right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it here. Then one nice thing, right, is that I do not think that the rooms can the room slots that you see can be easily can be replaced. So if you see anything on the last column, I would suggest that you can put some of the rooms there just to prevent the spawning in that area. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to add something that I don't want to do into the area at that side. So as you can see, I have put the terraforming research and the royal access chamber. You don't actually have to place all the rooms. Once you are done with your placement and you're happy with it, you can just easily leave the temple and then you're done. So just going to show uh, a quick show of what it's going to look like once I'm going for the Atziri kill. So the architect room will be destabilized and it will be respawned somewhere in the map. These 4 paths are really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, add the 4-sided path here, and then I'm going to see and make sure that this room connects these two together, and done. Well, I'm just going to run it like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the path, clear out the royal access chamber, access Atziri's chamber, and then pick up my loot. So let's run the temple. So all you do inside this royal chamber is look at the cutscene and wait for it to open. It's actually quite boring once you've done it a lot of times. Not sure if there's an easier way to skip it. You can go in straight after. I'm gonna wait for a bit. After defeating her, she will drop a medallion. And then you pick up the medallion in order to open the vault right after. Oof, the loot. Let's go! Right. And that's all you need to do in order to farm the Atziri boss.